Hello, good afternoon. I'm Joseph Johnson and this is Nationwide, reaching you live on the network service of the NTA. Glad you could join us. We begin with security matters. Officers of the Nigerian Air Force, Navy and Police have been challenged to entrench a new culture of people-friendly force that is well supported to accomplish mission. The Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar, made the call at the opening ceremony of the Civil Military Cooperation CIMIC Foundation course for Nigerian Air Force personnel in Abuja. Correspondent reports. Experiences have shown that most counterinsurgency and internal security operations take place in populated areas. Therefore, the traditional skills of the average military personnel, including airmen, may no longer be sufficient for them to effectively accomplish assigned missions. The need for training and retraining to adapt personnel for such emerging roles informed the gathering of these officers who were charged to take advantage of the training for enhanced professional performance.
To prosecute operations, personnel are today required to possess skills, knowledge, and the right attitude for accomplishing tasks in environments that are fluid and have no defined battle lines, as opposed to the traditional battlefield or war front that the military is used to.
We have a total of 48 participants, comprising of 42 Nigerian Air Force personnel, 26 of them are officers, while we have 16 NCOs.
It is hoped that at the end of the training, participants would have been well equipped to consolidate on apparent efforts of the Nigerian Air Force towards rekindling, winning the minds and hearts of the populace in support of its operations and activities. From the National Defense. Borno State Governor Kashim Shettima says the rehabilitation and reconstruction of Bama town will be completed before May 29, 2017. The governor said this while inaugurating the Nigerian Air Force Emergency Hospital in Bama. Chief of Air Staff Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar says the facilities are solar-powered boreholes and the hospital is part of its social responsibilities to the people within the area of operations in the fight against insurgency. Isaac Nkuma reports that the hospital has 35 Air Force personnel and support staff, providing healthcare services to over 25,000 internally displaced persons. Meanwhile, the Department of State Services has beefed up its ongoing tactical and counter-terrorism operations to degrade the capabilities of criminal syndicates in their hideouts across the Federation. A statement by Tony Opuyo indicates that series of arrests have been made and major coordinated attacks foiled. The service therefore urged the general public to remain vigilant and alert to developments in their immediate environs and to furnish security and law enforcement agencies with useful information for the sustenance of relative peace across the Federation. Now let's catch up on some of the other news for you. The federal government has been urged to allow private sector participation in driving the economy to bring about a large budget base in the nation. This was the submission at a 3-day training workshop for planning and budget officers in all ministries, departments and agencies in Abuja on zero-based budgeting system. Adebola Brookslyn Sunday reports.
From all indications, tax remains the largest and most sustainable source of government revenue generation, while budgeting is one of the ways government influences the lives of its citizens.
Various companies will bid to apply.
Keynote speakers at the workshop submitted that to achieve a large budget base, government must ensure fair trading, encourage competition, control quality of products and services, and most importantly, take the back seats in business by encouraging strong public-private sectors partnership.
So what we advocate for right now is that the private sector should take the lead. But the government needs to be able to create the environment that the private sector can do that. So the government has to ensure that there are incentives for the private sector.
It is more transparent. It is clear way of saying that you have to account for everything you do in governance.
It's not to say you're not going to get an allocation. You're going to get an allocation, but the money you're actually given is to be justified and make sure that it's aligned with the expenditures of government.
Starting on time will allow participants to queue into the new issues being introduced.
If the recommendations of the workshop is fully implemented, it is expected to help government avoid pressure, budget deficits, and inflation.
One of the advantages of the zero-based budgeting is that there must be a justification for every money appropriated, and every year starts on a zero level as against the incremental budget system of the past. Adebola, Brooksland Sunday, NTA News.
Nasarawa State Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice Yusuf Shehu Usman has explained the circumstances that led to the death of 2 civil servants during a labor-related protest concerning salaries. The Attorney General, who was speaking on NTA's Good Morning Nigeria, said the government had an interface with labor to look into the problem of salaries.
What sparked off that demonstration was the visit of the NLC chairman to Lafia. The labor leadership requested, at their own request, requested to see the governor, hold a meeting with him so that they could, if they could find an amicable solution to the lingering labor impasse. The governor obliged them. They came, but instead of coming straight to the government house for the meeting, they decided to come along with a motley crowd, mostly of workers, and of course, since it was a street procession, you could not have ruled out the possibility of others who had nothing to do with it joining.
Of course, the labor were agitating that their salary has been reduced. But I don't want to accept that because, as rightly mentioned by the Attorney General, it was a collective decision, even if they withdrew at the last minute. But they have been with us throughout the process.
The All Progressives Congress APC in Nasarawa State is in collaboration with Transport Workers, Students and Youth Council in Nasarawa State have kicked against the planned protest by the Nigeria Labour Congress over the recent killing of 2 workers in the state, since the matter is already being investigated. Chairman of APC in the state, Philip Shekwo, says the protest will further threaten the fragile peace there. Aliyu Tijani Mohammed completes the report.
Addressing newsmen in Lafia, the state chairman of APC, Philip Shekwo, explained that since the national leadership of NLC had petitioned the National Human Rights Commission to investigate the killings of 2 workers in Nasarawa State, in addition to ongoing investigation by the police and the state government, the planned protest will jeopardize the investigation. APC, therefore, enjoined the national leadership of the NLC led by Ayuba Waba to develop a better conflict resolution mechanism to resolve the impasse between the state government and the organized labor in the state, instead of resorting to protest.
We therefore call on the Nasarawa state workers and their leaders to reciprocate this by showing understanding with the present economic situation that the country and indeed the state have found itself by calling off this strike and go back to the negotiating table.
Meanwhile, the Joint National Association of Tertiary School Students and Nigerian Youth Council in Nasarawa State have condemned the planned protest by NLC and urged all students and youths in the state to shun it in the interest of peace in the state. In Lafia, Aliyu Tijani Mohammed, NTA News.
Wife of Abia State Governor Nkechi Ikpeazu says the state administration will empower women for self-reliance. She stated this while inaugurating an ultra-modern conference hall built by the women wing of Obuohia Ibi Ibere in Ikwano Council area of Abia State. Chinyere Okoli completes the report.
Mrs. Ikbazo applauded the initiative of Obuohia Women Wing and expressed the state government desire to implement the policies and programs that will better the lot of Abia women.
This contribution, which I have made today, will surely enshrine your names in the history annals of this community, because every part of this community will benefit.
Member representing Ikwano Mwahia Federal Constituency, Mr. Sam Onwibo said, Women August meeting is a forum born out of best intentions to raise women's consciousness about themselves and the society they belong.
The other challenge is to create employment for the teeming youth that are unemployed. And that way, you are bringing development closer to the people.
The women used the event to showcase their goals-giving talents. From Umuahia, Chinyere Okoli, NTA News.
Now, Iranian embassy in Nigeria is championing the cause of enlightening Nigerian women on girl-child education and the role of women in nation building. The cultural session of the embassy organized a one-day seminar in Abuja to prefer solutions to achieve its set objectives. Ilyasu Ali Yakub reports.
The seminar has the theme Girl, Child and National Growth from the educational, moral, ethical and social-religious perspectives as regards women and nation building. Iranian ambassador to Nigeria, Motez Rahimi, emphasized the need for women to take their pride of place as provided by the Holy Quran. He said Allah has in many chapters of the Holy Quran spoken on the virtues of a woman which must be respected in all ramifications.
The role that has been assigned to the women to build up a society is unique.
The Islam as a big religious in all over the world is trying to upgrade the situation of the women.
The women, they should be empowered, they should be highly educated, because when they are educated, they know exactly what Allah said, what Allah decreed for them.
That the woman is an institution. He said the woman is a university. You know, you train one woman, if he has 7 children, the whole of them will be trained.
A woman must be included in the process of nation building.
The seminar drew participants from the religious and other organizations to consolidate on the woman's position in the scheme of things. In Abuja, Ilyasu Aliaku, NTA News.
When parents are more receptive towards their children on sex education, it prevents them from getting wrong answers and ideas from peer groups and other sources. This was the session during the launch of a book entitled The Peculiar Girl, organized by Living Hope for Women and Youths Foundation in Abuja. The book reviewer, Dr. Gbadamosi Olatunde, said the book is a must-have for youths and parents alike.
In page 9, I recognize that they need someone to give honest answers without laughing at or judging them. As they grow up, these girls need friends in whom they can open up their hearts and confide in.
The author Nanman Philemon Kash emphasizes the need for parents not to shy away from the responsibility of teaching their children the right concepts on good morals.
The girl child is that creature that needs to be nurtured right from birth, because there's a lot in her that if it is not well nurtured and if it is tempered with, it could affect that mother in the future.
Books like this, if you go through them, you find out that there could be a key to that added value that you need to your life.
It's not just beneficial for children alone, it's also beneficial for mothers. It made counseling a child easy.
She has passion for reading, passion for writing. I want to emulate from her.
The book dwells on early enlightenment of the girl child on basic realities of life. Now let's join Abdullahi from our Lagos Network Center. He will, among other stories, tell us about a lecture on sustainable power sector. Abdullahi, it's good to see you.
Good to see you too, Joseph. Thanks for joining us here in Lagos. Nigeria can attain sustainable development in the power sector if abundant alternative sources of power in the country are harnessed and developed. Former Minister of Power, Professor Bath Naji, stated this while delivering a lecture on sustainable development of power sector in Nigeria. The lecture was jointly organized by the Department of Building, Faculty of Environmental Sciences and the School of Postgraduate Studies, University of Lagos. Musa Toliat reports.
Professor Bath Naji said the spate of gas pipeline vandalism needs to be effectively tackled so that power generation drive of the country can be enhanced. He suggested that there must be conscious efforts on the part of government geared towards exploration of alternative sources of power, which would guarantee constant supply of electricity to Nigerians at minimal cost.
We have to ensure sustainable fuel supply. U.S. produces more than 1 million megawatts of power. 400,000 of that, which is 40%, comes from coal. We have coal here. We're not making use of it.
Organizers of the lecture say the event is to equip students involved in construction projects with requisite knowledge on resource management and project development.
As a department, we are training all our students to ensure that they themselves, they are not just here just to have the certificate, how to contribute to what is in existence.
The goal of this lecture is to look at how to apply project management principles in achieving results in the development of the power sector.
As a faculty and as a university, with this information we have, it must generate a lot of research, a lot of studies, a lot of discussion.
The annual University of Lagos Project Management Lecture serves as a platform to generate ideas on project management and draw the attention of policymakers to the pool of human capital resources available at the local environment. In Lagos, Musa Toliat, NTA News.
After carrying out emergency repairs on the Apapa outward bound bridge in Lagos, contractors have opened the bridge to traffic. This is to ease traffic congestion resulting from the closure of the bridge. This is how the Apapa outward bound bridge was when the Minister of Works, Power and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, declared it unfit for traffic. He ordered the closure of the bridge and contractors began rehabilitation work immediately. Weeks after, the bridge wears a new look and is opened for traffic with the exception of heavy-duty vehicles.
Before I open this road, I have plenty. This road no good. So one night, you don't do okay.
As they block it and repair it now, we are very happy.
With the opening of the road now, I think they should make the traffic better.
In the meantime, heavy-duty vehicles will continue to use the alternative route. Construction supervisors here emphasize that this barrier behind me is going to be here temporarily, and as soon as repairs are completed on the bridge, this barrier is going to give way and heavy trucks will ply the bridge. In Lagos, Abdullah Mohammed, NTA News. On to religious matters now. Islamic scholars converged on Lagos to re-emphasize the core values in Islamic teaching and promote religious tolerance across the country. Bolore Ugbara reports that the gathering was convened at the instance of the Ansaruddin Society of Nigeria.
The gathering of these Islamic scholars deliberated on the need to set the record straight on the perception which links Islam with terrorism. President Ansaruddin Society of Nigeria, Abdul Latif Okuno, said Islam condemns extremism and wanton destruction of lives and property. He, however, advised that Islamic scholars place emphasis on admonition that borders on good neighborliness, peaceful coexistence, and national unity.
We preach the true Islam as enshrined in the Quran. have no right to take the life of anybody, any human being, unless by lawful means. Lawful means is in the hands of the government of the country.
Engage in something reasonable. Help the society, help yourself and help your family and help the government.
The need for Muslim faithful to uphold best practices during the forthcoming Eid al-Adha was also stressed by the Islamic scholars.
As brothers and sisters in Islam and embrace Islam and pray for the leadership of this country and pray for this country.
Both Christian and Muslim, we should promote peace.
They should not borrow to buy a ram. They should do the salah with what they have.
The Islamic gathering attracted missioners and executive council members of Asariddin Society of Nigeria in Lagos, Abolore Ogbara, NTA News.
And that story ends nationwide. From here is back to Joseph, who has more reports in Abuja. Joseph, hope you're ready.
Thank you, Abdullahi. Of course, I am. All right, 500 delegates of the Presidential Amnesty Program are billed to kickstart training in advanced agricultural techniques at the Bioresources Development Center, or Bayelsa State. Now, the training is a pilot initiative which targets the further engagement of more delegates of the Amnesty Program into the current agricultural development drive of the federal government. Namdi Odipo tells us more.
These days, it's all about agriculture, currently touted by government as one of the available avenues to turn the nation's fortunes around. The opportunities clearly abound, so also is the rising interest by many in the country to key into what the sector offers. The Presidential Amnesty Office has since keyed into exploring business opportunities in agriculture by enlisting its delegates into various agri ventures. Now it hopes to enlist a first set of 500 delegates to train at the Bioresources Development Center in Bayelsa State, where they would focus on utilizing scientific advances to boost agricultural practices.
Agriculture will create employment, will create wealth, we will sell farm products, we will also capture food security. Let us look inwards and get the best of this environment. We don't need to import anything.
If this can be proliferated in the Niger Delta region, I am telling you and giving you my word, Niger Delta will remain the hub not only for oil, but for all other agricultural and industrial revolution that Nigeria requires. In the words of Mr. President, everybody go back to the farm. This is the starting material.
The expectation is by taking advantage of science-based research methods on agriculture, Nigeria can evolve a new breed of mechanized commercial farmers. Namdi Odipo, NTA News.
Still talking agriculture, the recently launched Green Alternative Program is intended to redirect agriculture in the country to a job-creating and revenue-earning venture, especially with the downturn in the economy. To be able to achieve the objectives of the Green Alternative, guests on NTS Good Morning Nigeria say there must be synergy between the federal and state governments in providing the platform for the private sector to lead the agriculture renaissance. Kufang Shaji tells us more.
Knowing that hunger has caused problems, even leading to regime change in some countries, it is no surprise that the present administration has stepped up efforts to meet the food needs of Nigerians. The Green Alternative, which is a roadmap for growing Nigeria's agriculture from 2016 to 2020, is focused on increasing production, enhancing value chain addition, promoting mechanized farming, and ensuring that Nigeria begins to export food rather than importing agri-products.
Today, agriculture is more relevant than ever. With the Naira devaluation, we can no longer import. We cannot afford to import. And through agriculture, everybody can make money.
Discussants also reiterated the need to take appropriate steps to support peasant farmers as they are major contributors to Nigeria's GDP derived from farming.
What a Nigerian farmer needs, latest match of every year. If he can have easy access to a minimum of, say, 2 bags of fertilizer, he will be encouraged.
We are now faced with a situation where we have to revolutionize our thinking. Our mindset must change. The farmer's mindset must change.
Identify particularly some states that have high potentials for agricultural development, and even go down to some particular crops, and then begin to find ways or means of allocating some funds to these states.
Implementation is a critical stage in the project process, in the policy process. That is the stage when you are expected to mobilize resources, money, men, and materials, and move them towards achieving the goal of the green alternative.
Through the green alternative, the government hopes to grow the country's agriculture annually by 6% to 12%, double household income in 6 years to 12 years, and enhance the sector's capacity for foreign exchange. In Abuja, Gufan Shaji, NTA News.
Let's remind you that you can watch this news live online via the NTA mobile app, which you can download on your Android device at the Google Play Store or at the Apple Store. That's, of course, if you use devices with iOS. You're watching Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. We'll pause here for some messages. More reports shortly. Don't go away.
Suicide bombers are not spirits. They are not ghosts. They are human beings like you and me. They live amongst us. They are your neighbors. They are your friends today, but terrorists tomorrow. So you must know your neighbor now. Security begins with you and me. Know your neighbor. Be vigilant. Be security conscious. Report suspicious persons, objects, and movements to the police and other security agencies. The security of our nation is a duty for you and me.
If you see something, say something. Nigeria, unite against terrorism.
This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
The relocation of flood victims is the focus on NTA Tuesday Live, as experts deliberate on best ways and means. NTA Tuesday Live, informative, educative, and incisive. Don't be told.
This is a sheer exhibition of your primitive atavistic tendency.
Any student who does not donate to my ministry will not be blessed by the ministry.
A phenomenon that defies the norm. A comedy and social satire that touches all, bears all, and shakes you up like never before.
Yeah, like after now you go say na me they talk all is about the thing where they have for this one.
Glow presents Professor John Bull, the biggest thing on your TV this season. Starring Kanayo Okanayo, Mercy Johnson, Queen Wokoye, Yomi Fash Lanzo, Funky Malam, Ime Bishop, Bimbo Akintola, Oguz Baba, Bidemi Kosoko, Junior Pope MC for God, Stephen Odingwe, and a host of other mega stars.
Within April 12th, there is a Yura.
Intellectual.
Professor John Bull, every Tuesday and Friday, 8:30 to 9 p.m. on NTA International, NTA Network, and Star Time.
Over and out.
The largest data network, Glow Unlimited.
We intend to radically change Newman Street. My company has a track record of converting slums into new cities. Many years of experience has taught us to fish out allies within the communities we want to transform.
Don't listen to your husband. Listen to me. Give me a boy. And the two of you may never even have to work again.
sharp guy. How are you? What's your name?
Akpos. America.
Oh, Akpos America.
Yeah, one. Number two.
Wonderful wonder. Wonderful wonder.
Successful political change must begin to improve people's daily lives. That is the democracy dividend Nigerians have waited for. But no one should expect that all the damage done over a generation can be undone in a year. Real change demands perseverance and patience. It demands openness to honorable compromise and cooperation. It demands support on a constant basis from the people of Nigeria and from your friends abroad. That does not mean being patient with corruption or injustice, but to give up hope because change comes slowly would only be to hand a victory to those who do not want to change at all. Remember something we Americans have learned in over 224 years of experience with democracy. It is always and everywhere a work in progress.
Do you know that the numerous challenges being experienced by the media houses pose a serious threat to the professional excellence in the media house? Jose's public and private media houses are not counting losses from the prevailing economic circumstances. These and much more will be addressed in a 2-day seminar tagged The Media in a Distressed Economy, The Way Out. Resource persons include Professor Ralph Akinfeleye, Ambassador Yemi Farombi, Dr. Tony Iradia, Alhaji Garbadin Mohammed, Mrs. Ifeinwa Omowole, Mr. Unduka Obagbena, Comrade Wahid Odusile. Date 24th to 25th August 2016. Participation fee 10,000 naira only. Venue, Center of Excellence in Multimedia Technology and Cinematography, University of Lagos, Akoka. Event will be declared open by Right Honorable Mudashiru Obasa. For inquiries,
hello and welcome back. If you've just joined us, this is NTA Nationwide. Prevention of post-harvest loss and food preservation as measures to prevent flooding in top gear as we join Dauju in our Ibadan Network Center. Dauju, it's over to you.
Joseph, good to see you. Good evening and welcome to Ibadan. Concerned residents of Ibadan have described the recent increase in population of beggars in the metropolis as an eyesore and poses environmental hazards in public places. In this report, correspondent Femi Afolabi examines the new ways of begging in Ibadan.
Cities across Nigeria, including Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, are confronted with diverse and complicated problems which have social, economic, and physical implications for dwellers. One of the problems is the issue of street begging, which poses some threat to the society if prompt action are not taken. Despite regular media campaign to tackle the menace of begging in the society, beggars are increasing in number, making use of many tactics and styles to get money from innocent individuals. Unlike before, some beggars are now seen in uniforms of their organization and make use of voice amplifiers to draw the attention of passers-by. Members of the public react.
The government has a role to play in rescuing the situation by making sure that they improve the economy.
If government wakes up today and the government says it wants to sanitize the society by evacuating the disabled bodies, government should take into consideration of what are these people what are they going to live upon.
Oyo State Commissioner for Information Toye Arulogun condemned the act, saying Oyo State government is on top of the situation.
Okay, you will see that there is a resurgence of beggars on the streets. It's not because government is not aware. You see also that we are going to resuscitate ESO and the people that will be doing the job to clear them off the streets. So certainly government is not going to condone street trading, neither is it going to condone begging on the streets.
In Ibadan, Femi Afolabi, NTA News.
Nigerians have been advised to imbibe good conduct in relationship with the environment in order to prevent avoidable disaster. Environmentalists give the advice and measures to prevent imminent flooding in Oyo State. Correspondent Olumide Guntola tells us more.
It happened 5 years ago, and the memories are still fresh. Victims still live with the irreversible loss and wreckage caused by the flood. But a drive round Ibadan metropolis shows that some members of the public are yet to learn from the August 26, 2011 flooding, which some analysts tag as Black Day in Ibadan. This is evident in the condition of most waterways, canals, bridges, and drainages. They speak volume of the attitude of people towards the environment.
But during the environmental day, like Thursday, so we gathered our people, our market women here. So we did a little that we can do.
Meanwhile, Oyo State government has announced notice of demolition of structure and buildings along waterways in view of the flood alert that Oyo State will experience another flooding this rainy season. Environmental scientist David Ladipo speaks on causes and solutions to flooding.
The situation is getting bad. That water that flows after rains or during rains becomes brownish and murky. That simply means erosion is taking place. And as erosion takes place, if we don't check it, then all the sand, or what we call debris, that comes from erosion goes into the valley systems.
For residents, resting on their oars at this moment is sleeping under burning roofs. In Ibadan, Olumide Guntola, NTA News.
Adaptation of functional modern food preservation system, as well as linking rural farmlands and settlements to urban centers with motorable access roads, have been described as panacea to achieving diversification of the nation's economy. Agricultural experts say government need to put in place basic infrastructure to enhance easy diversification. Correspondent Anthony Gandumu reports.
Preservation of food, particularly fresh farm produce after harvest, is vital at ensuring food self-sufficiency and food security of any given nation. It was, however, disheartening to note that Nigerian farmers still depend solely on ancient, poor, and rudimentary sun-drying method of preserving their farm produce. This, according to agric experts, has relegated the nation to the background, making Nigeria to depend mostly on food importation.
If we organize our agricultural systems very well, that farmer may not necessarily be the one to be in charge of storage and preservation. You might have an off-taker who will take it off the farmer at the point of harvest, and the business of the off-taker is to take products from several farmers and store it until when needed, and then release it gradually for the market.
Commending the federal government on its planned diversification of the nation's economy for agriculture, suggested the rejuvenation of agric extension service and provision of adequate financial support and constant training of genuine farmers devoid of political, ethnic, and religious consideration. From Abeokuta, Anthony Gandun.
Joseph, it's back to you. That's our offering from Ibadan. Good evening.
Thank you very much, Dauju, for your offerings. The National Unity and Peace Court says if endorsed by President Muhammadu Buhari as envisaged come September 2016, it will work assiduously to complement other security agencies in entrenching peace and stability in the country. The Commandant General, Dr. Chinedu Nneji, reiterated this at the training and passing out parade of the Corps in Abuja. Lajide Bello reports.
The Commandant General, Dr. Chinedu Nneji, says since the Corps was licensed in 2006, it has been at the forefront of peace and conflict resolution through dialogue. He reiterated the Corps' commitment to establish mediation centers across the country and employ a holistic approach towards resolving disputes and conflicts if given the mandate to function as a federal government parastatal.
Intend to use what we call civil functionality modality, where we make sure that all our members who hail from the crisis-prone zones are drafted to talk to their people through a persuasive approach to make sure that they lay down their arms, their anger, their grudges, and embrace dialogue.
The social security, even without arms, I believe this member will contribute excellently to the well-being of Nigeria.
The passing out parade was climaxed with presentation of trophies with Bauchi State Command of the Corps Imagine Buena from the NYC camp in Kubwa, Abuja on Lajide, Bello, NTA News.
Sultan on interfaith relations. These and more stories as we join Sani in our Kaduna Center. Hello, Sani.
And welcome to Kaduna. The Sultan of Sokoto, Alhaji Muhammad Saad Abubakar III, says dialogue remains the best option in addressing most of the socio-political challenges facing the country. The Sultan said this at the inauguration of the International Center for Interfaith Peace and Harmony in Kaduna. Muhammad Lawal Baba has the rest of the story.
Sultan Saad Abubakar warned on the dangers of people making inciting statements capable of throwing the country into a religious war. He emphasized the need for Nigeria to set aside ethno-religious differences between them and be committed towards peace and development of the nation.
We are the only ones who can help this country. So let others like the workers of churches, like the rabbits, come in and help us too. Let them contribute to helping us. But we must be committed.
Alhaji Saad noted that no individual, government, or group can turn Nigeria into a single religious state, saying both adherents of Islam and Christianity have always lived together in peace since the amalgamation of the country. Governor Nasiru El-Rufai of Kaduna State decried the series of ethno-religious crises suffered by the state over the years.
Since 1980, Kaduna has gone through 12 rounds of violence associated with ethnic or religious differences that has led to the death of about 20,000 people and the destruction of property, both villages.
Some religious leaders at the event, including Cardinal John Onaikon, stressed the need to identify causes of ethnic and religious conflicts in the country with a view to finding a lasting solution. In Kaduna, Muhammad Lawal Baba, NTA News.
And now to health matters, the Yusuf Dansoho General Hospital, Kaduna, has been upgraded with an ultra-modern delivery ward in addition to some state-of-the-art medical equipment. The effort is a result of a partnership between the Kaduna State Government and the MTN Foundation Maternal Ward Support Project. Eugenia Ukweze reports.
The MTN Foundation Maternal Ward Support Project became necessary due to increasing cases of infant and maternal mortality in Nigeria. UNICEF survey shows that every day, Nigeria loses about 2,300 under 5-year-olds and 145 women of childbearing age, thereby making Nigeria the second largest contributor to the infant and maternal mortality rate in the world. Governor Nasir El-Rufai, represented by Commissioner for Health, Dr. Paul Manya Dogo, while commissioning the project, observed that the gesture will go a long way in reducing infant and maternal mortality rates in Nigeria.
The MTN Foundation Maternal Ward Support Project was 97,750,000 in Kaduna, was executed in 5 hospitals.
People are very happy with the standard, with the quality, and nothing has been compromised.
MTN officials speak.
We intervene in 3 different areas: health, education, and empowerment.
So we shortlisted Kaduna State hospitals, having inspected them, came up with the 5 best ones.
5 hospitals in Kaduna are benefiting from this gesture, while 19 other hospitals in Abia, Cross River, Niger, Oyo, and Sokoto states will benefit from the scheme. In Kaduna, Eugenia Ukweze, NTA News.
That's all from Kaduna. Back to you, Joseph.
Thank you, Sani. A former Minister of Power and Steel, Dr. Olu Agunloye, has emerged as the standard bearer of the Social Democratic Party (SDP) ahead of the November 26 governorship election in Ondo State. He emerged during the party's primary election in Akure, the state capital. Dakbot Daramola reports.
Accreditation of delegates from the 18 local government areas of Ondo State and voting were each free. At the end of the election, the deputy national chairman of the party, who supervised the primary, announced the results and declared the winner.
After voting, after sorting, counting and voting, has been declared winner and is the flag bearer of SDP.
The SDP standard bearer, Dr. Olu Agunloye, promised to work for the state and our people.
And I believe that the good people of Ondo State will now believe and know that what is important at this time is about trustworthiness, about integrity, and about ability to deliver for the people of Ondo State.
The Ondo State chairman of the party, Chief Korede Duile, and some delegates spoke on the outcome of the election.
They said that the whole program has gone on very well. No hitch, no violence, nothing untoward that had happened here.
It was so beautiful, so nice. No problem anywhere, no chaos anywhere. We thank God at the end that we have chosen our candidate.
It was fine, beautiful, wonderfully conducted, without any issues.
INEC officials were on ground to monitor the election, while security presence was noticed at the venue. In Akure, Damola, NTA News.
56th NBA conference opens in Port Harcourt. Let's join Mina from our Port Harcourt Network Center for more stories. Hello, Mina.
Hello, Joseph. Good afternoon and welcome to Port Harcourt. 56th NBA Annual General Conference of the Nigerian Bar Association has opened in Port Harcourt, the Rivers State capital, with lawyers calling on the Chief Justice of Nigeria to act on the rising pace of contradictory court judgments emerging from the nation's courts. Ogedi Nyekwere reports.
The theme Democracy and Economic Development was chosen bearing in mind the current economic reality of the nation. Vice President Yemi Oshibanjo, represented by the Attorney General of the Federation, said NBA has demonstrated its capacity in the sustenance of democracy and urged them to support the federal government as they chart new ways to revive the nation's economy.
The Nigerian Bar Association has once more demonstrated its acknowledged role as the foremost politically and socially responsive professional association as it focuses attention on issues of national growth and development.
President of Republic of Rwanda, Paul Kagame, represented by his Attorney General, Pusingi Johnson, in his keynote said, for Nigeria to achieve economic diversification, right policies must be formulated and democratic tenets observed to the latter. Governor Wike said Nigeria, like many countries of the world practicing democracy, can achieve economic prosperity if the huge human and material resources are put into effective use.
The responsible government and the people that will make them effective to affect positive economic, social, and political outcomes.
The NBA National President, Augustine Alege San, said NBA is ready to offer free legal services in the fight against corruption. The NBA conference is expected to end by 26th of this month. In Port Harcourt, Ogedi Nyekwere, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the Attorney General of the Federation, Justice Abubakar Malami, had earlier on visited Rivers State Governor, where he commended the contributions of Governor Nyesom Wike towards the development of the law profession, just as his Rwandan counterpart, Pusingi Johnson, makes case for the re-engineering of the Nigerian economy. Once again, Ogedi Nyekwere reports.
The joint courtesy call on Governor Wike is in line with the bar tradition. Governor Wike was pleased with the visit and noted that Rivers State is important to the economic development of the nation.
We are key to making sure that anything that will make the development of law, we have to give support.
Meanwhile, the Nigerian Bar Association National President Augustine Alege San commissioned the rehabilitated Dr. Peter Odili Road. The Dr. Peter Odili Road is 4.2 meters long, 7.5 meters wide on both sides. A drain of 2.5 kilometers was reconstructed on the road. In Port Harcourt, Ogedinye Kwere, NTA News.
And that's a bit from Port Harcourt. Joseph is back to you for the rest of Nationwide.
Many thanks, Mina. Qualified and duly licensed Nigerians teachers who teach abroad will no longer face problem of seeking appointment or placement as the Teachers Registration Council of Nigeria began the issuance of letter of professional standing to some countries. The registrar of the council, Professor Josiah Ajiboye, who stated this at a media briefing, emphasized that the council is adverse to brain drain but brain sharing. Abdullahi Musa Suleja reports.
Professionalism is considered to be the most primary and fundamental need of any vocation that wishes to deliver qualities to the society and have its members respected and earn better remuneration. This is why the new registrar of the Teachers Registration Council of Nigeria, Professor Josiah Ajiboye, says the council is out to achieve.
This letter that we are now issuing, let me assure Nigerians that it has now guaranteed that the Nigerian teachers who go outside to teach now get equal, what we call parity of esteem.
He also said the council under his watch will intensify the mandatory continuing professional development program.
We expect teachers to be able to key into the dynamism of the classroom environment and not to continue to do the same thing that we have been doing over and over again.
On the halted professional qualifying examinations, Professor Ajiboye says the exam will be reintroduced. He calls on parents nationwide to verify the statuses of teachers who are teaching their children.
We are devising a facility where you can just log on our website and you'll be able to check whether that teacher teaching your child is actually registered, licensed by TRCN or not. We want a situation whereby it will be very difficult for any quack to be in our system.
In Abuja, Abdullahi Musa Suleja, NTA News.
Let's bring you up to date with news on the foreign scene. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry in Kenya for security issues meets 6 African foreign ministers. This and much more on Global Tidbits with Gabriel Odu.
After a closed-door meeting with Kenya's President Uhuru Kenyatta, U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry met with 6 of his counterparts from Kenya, Somalia, South Sudan, Sudan, and Uganda. Discussions centered primarily on how to restore the peace process in South Sudan. Still on Africa, the International Criminal Court's trial of Mali's militant Ahmed Al-Faki Al-Mahdi, who pleaded guilty of destroying historical monuments in Timbuktu, is to last 1 week. This is the first time ICC will be engaging in the trial of a case of artifacts. Researchers from the University of London and Ghana's Health Policy Consult have reviewed dozens of studies on drug prescription from 11 sub-Saharan African countries and found out that doctors prescribe more drugs than the number required by the World Health Organization, leading to drug misuse, overuse, and abuse. That's Global Tidbits. Gabriel Odu, NTA News.
And on sports, Minister of Youth and Sports Development Solomon Dalung reflects on Team Nigeria's outing at 2016 Rio Olympics as Ode Alechenu wins Nigeria Junior Golf Open Championship in Abuja. Ayodeji Makinde has more on sports update.
Minister of Youth and Sports Development Solomon Dalung has been reflecting upon a number of lessons for Team Nigeria at the just-ended 2016 Rio Olympic Games in Brazil, with a view to restructuring the sector for better administration as they affect Nigeria and Africa during a chat with correspondent Kenne Imagbodike in Rio de Janeiro.
As we go in search
of younger prospective athletes, we must also identify potential coaches and potential referees and judges.
Curtain fell on the 31st Olympiad early Monday morning with a spectacular cynosure at the closing ceremony inside the Maracana Stadium. After 16 days of competitions, 27 world records were set in 7 Olympic sports as 11,303 athletes from 206 nations and a refugee team lit up the stage. Japan's Prime Minister Shinzo Abe appeared as computer game character Super Mario as the Olympic flame was extinguished after the flag was handed over to Tokyo as 2020 hosts. The 2016 Junior Golf Open Championship has ended at the IBB International Golf and Country Club, Abuja. However, the high point of the event was the sudden death winners game between Paul Bamikole from Ekiti and Ode Alichenu from Otukpo after both tied at 157 score in 14 to 16 years category. Alichenu, however, won the game after hole 3.
Someday I will be a professional, then I will play as a country all over the world, and I'll make my people proud.
131 golfers from 21 states took part in the 2-day championship. With sports updates, Ayodeji, Makinde NTA News.
And just before we go, a quick reminder that you can get all our stories and much more when you log on to our website, www.nta.ng. And that's it on NTA Nationwide for today, the very first for the week. Thank you very much indeed for your company. Join us again for more reports in our subsequent news belts. I'm Joseph Johnson. Bye-bye.